Welcome to Make Sylacauga Healthy Again. I'm your host, Dr. Jonathon Douglas of Broadway Spinal Care. Before we get started, let me assure you, we're not here to take away your biscuits or your fried food or your joy. This effort's not going to be about perfection. It's going to be about showing up, learning a lot, hopefully laughing, and really setting expectations that are realistic for you. Food labels are so complicated. Food just in general is confusing. It's often more like a chemistry experiment than it is something you'd have at home. So we have big goals for Sylacauga, and we think that even a small town can do really, really big things. Being healthy is not about going vegan, it's not about going broke, and it's not about going crazy. We're going to figure out ways to do this simply, and we're going to try to be a bright light for the state so that we can be an example for the Make America Healthy Again group and show what we can do in a small town in Alabama. So grab your notebook, let's take some notes. So this show is actually about 25 years in the making. Dr. Tara and I have been teaching nutrition for at least 25 years. We were in Washington State for 21 of those. And I can tell you that when you're a young doctor, you really start out being on fire teaching people about nutrition and health. And you have this expectation that you're going to come out and you're just going to save the world, and everybody's just so ready to hear this. And then after you've done it for a while, you figure out that maybe that's not actually the case, that maybe that people are set in their ways and they might tell you they're ready, but they're just not. And so we started off teaching nutrition classes. We used to have huge groups. We did all these things. And then we kind of got burnt out on it because we didn't feel like there was really any emphasis government-wise. People would go to the store and they'd say, well, this food's available at the store. You know, why is it so bad for me? The government wouldn't allow this if it was so bad, and that's just purely not true, number one. But number two, it is frustrating because so many of these things that are in our foods are so toxic, and they really are the reason why people are so sick. And so we would have all of our junior doctors do some of the teaching and nutrition classes, but we just kind of abandoned doing it ourselves. And then RFK Jr. has come along, and Tara and I talked about this and said, you know what, maybe, just maybe, at this point in our career, way down the line, it's worth doing again. And so with this Make America Healthy Again initiative, which I hope that everyone has heard about, and I hope that everyone has watched some of RFK's videos and is really thinking about this. I know that's unrealistic to think that everyone is, but I'm hoping this program can get people thinking in that direction. But what they're really doing with Make America Healthy Again is they're just exposing things that have been known forever. That these toxins and these things are in our food and they're in our environment, and they are purely making us sick. And so Tara and I sat down and said, is it worth the effort again? And we said, yeah, I think it is. We're going to make one more attempt at this. And so we have our Facebook page, Broadway Spinal Care. We added a group, Make Sylacauga Healthy Again, and we've started putting some content on there, and we've actually gotten some traction, and people are asking the right questions, and people seem to be excited about it. And so we're going to make a very, very big effort over the next couple of years to try very hard to make Sylacauga the example for the state of Alabama and hopefully for the nation. Because if we really expect the federal government to come along and fix something, then first of all, I don't know if that's ever happened. But secondly, even if the Make America Healthy Again group in Washington can really fix a lot of these things, then it's going to take a long time to trickle down to us. So if we know it's a problem and we know it's coming, why can't Sylacauga be the place that's going to be the shining example of this? That we're going to go ahead and, like, let's use for example food dyes. RFK Jr. last week came out and said that there are food dyes that are going to be banned by the end of 2026, and that's amazing. And the reason it's going to be banned in a year and a half is because there's so much money behind it, and it's really hard to take these products out when they're being manufactured, and I understand that. It would be better if we took them out tomorrow. But if we know these things are coming, then why don't we go ahead and get ahead of the curve? So that's really the idea. And so every week you're going to see us talking to someone who's on a health journey. And we're going to be talking about these kind of things and trying to figure out some way to get Sylacauga ahead of the curve, because Sylacauga is not really different from any other small town in Alabama or pretty much in America. We need help. We're basically killing ourselves with what we're eating. And so why don't we just go ahead and get started now? We're going to help people find the way to do that. And so with that being said, we have several goals for Make Sylacauga Healthy Again. We have maybe too big of goals, but we have a lot of goals that we're going to try to accomplish. And so we're going to move forward and get that going. So we have some rather large goals for Make Sylacauga Healthy Again. And the first one is empowering through education. And the reason I think that's so important is that people are intimidated to ask questions. People are overwhelmed with finding people who know the answers, and they're often constrained by financial limitations. And so what we're trying to do, and what we're going to do, is we're going to put together health professionals who are experts in lots of different things, and we're going to provide a free resource to the people of Sylacauga and whoever else is watching, because we don't want financial concerns to keep you from getting there, and we also don't want misinformation to keep you from getting there. So everything we present on here is going to have research behind it. We're not going into anything controversial. This is just very basic information that's going to help begin empowering through education. Second goal is that we're going to connect with all these locals on health journeys. And so when I talk about locals, I'm not talking about local providers. We're going to be bringing in people from the community who have figured something out health-wise. So when you're watching this, you may not identify with me or you may not identify with Tara because our lifestyle's different and opportunities potentially different. But we're going to bring in all kinds of people. We're going to bring in mothers. We're going to bring in fathers. We're going to bring in someone who has autoimmune disease. So we're hoping we can find all kinds of people who have something similar to maybe what you're dealing with. And so when you see yourself in them, you can learn something that they've learned, and it will give you that extra momentum to say, boy, if they've done that, I can do that. And so we know all of these people. We talk to them in the clinic all day long. You wouldn't believe all the things we see and we talk about. That the chiropractic world, you think we talk about spinal problems, but I would say that we talk about spinal problems half of the day. And then the rest of the day, we talk about lifestyle issues. We talk about serious metabolic issues. So we're going to bring people in who have learned things. They're on a health journey, and they have learned amazing things. And it's going to be something that you're happy to hear, and it's going to help bring you into a thinking that you can solve the problem in the same way that they did. And the third one, which I actually think might be the most important of all, is we're going to work really hard, starting with the private schools, on getting healthy eating into schools. And I really want families to start doing things together, because when one parent decides to go on a health journey, it is so sabotaging when the rest of the family doesn't join in. And they go home and they say, I'm cooking that meal, and then we hear, oh, you're doing that weird eating thing again, we're not doing that. So really hoping that we can get whole families on board. And we've been talking a lot about eating, but I really don't want you to think that eating is the only thing that we're really going to talk about. We're going to bring in people talking about exercise. We're going to be talking about balance quite a lot. There are just so many aspects to making Sylacauga healthy again that are not eating related, but we're really focusing on eating because that is our beginning point. And I think that's such a great starting point for this. And then one thing that was not on that is that we are going to work with local restaurants. And we've already started talking to local restaurants about this. Because when we lived on the West Coast, you would go in a restaurant and you would see a label and it would say gluten-free or vegan or whatever the label was. And every restaurant had these healthy, let's say healthy, other options that you could choose. And so we're going to team with local restaurants and we're going to review the ingredients going into each of these menu items, so that we don't have to take away eating out. We want you to eat out. It's great to eat out. It supports the local community. You get new foods, get to meet people, socialize. All of that's healthy. But we need to have some options where when you go to the restaurant, you say, really, I'm working on my health here, and I see a sticker that says, Make Sylacauga Healthy Again approved. This menu item has ingredients that are healthy. or healthier, and that this is a really good choice for me when I go out to eat. And we think that's really going to empower people to feel better about their health and feel like we're not taking something away with them not being able to go into restaurants. So those are our big goals, and we need all the help we can get. The best way to find us is Broadway Spinal Care Facebook page. Go ahead and join Make Sylacauga Healthy Again group. It's all free. And then if you have ideas for future shows, I'd love to know what really excites people, because I know what excites me, and I know the people we can talk to about their health journeys, and I know the right kind of people to talk to about exercise and all the above. But sometimes I'm surprised when people post on there and they say, hey, I'd really like to know about this, and it's just never crossed my mind. So if you have ideas, please send them to us through the Facebook page, and don't hesitate to do that, and don't feel like any question is too simple, because it might be exactly what other people are really thinking about. At the end of every show, I would like to have a weekly thought, so something that can be on your mind and can help you through the week, health-wise and nutrition-wise. And my mind, it might sound crazy, but my mind works best on song lyrics. I hear a song lyric and it just sticks in my head, and there are a lot of lyrics that really make me think about life and health and such. So this is one of my favorites, and it's something that I think about pretty much every day. And I think that it applies to any kind of health journey, but it says there's more than one answer to these questions that are pointing us in a crooked line. So I want you to think about that this week. When we talk about health and nutrition, your journey is different than my journey, and the answer for me is not necessarily the answer for you, but we're going to work really hard to present things that help you get along that path so that your crooked line becomes a little straighter. We'll see you soon.